Apparently nowadays, everybody wants fragrances that are so strong and melts your nose off your face, makes you look like the ghoul from Fallout, and makes sure that anybody within a, 200-meter radius can smell you. And it is every fragrance house doing this. Some of the newest fragrances coming out this year are being touted as having 24-hour longevity. So obviously it's what everybody wants. So today, clone fragrances, but not just any other clones, some of the strongest ones you can buy. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. All of these linked in the description. We will begin with Rasasi Hawas Cobra, which is just in general kind of a confusing fragrance for me. Not in terms of how it smells, like when you smell it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. It smells like a twist on Imagination by Louis Vuitton. The reason that it's confusing is it's named Cobra with the K, because, you know, it's cooler when it's misspelled like that. And also the dark bottle, you know, it has this look to it where it's like, oh, this is a menacing fall and wintertime beast. Probably a lot of incense in there, dark woods, oud. Then you spray it on. What is Cobra, as I said? Oh, it's Imagination. It's freaking clean. Clean, citrusy, fresh, brisk, and powerful. Yeah, if you ever had a problem with Imagination where you sprayed it on and you thought to yourself, ah, this is really expensive, and in terms of projection, longevity, it's not really giving me everything I paid for. Well, if you ever had that thought, my buddy, don't worry. Put yourself that Imagination down, get yourself some Cobra. It's like Monster Energy drink if it were bottled in terms of performance or something. Because this stuff will last and it will project way more than any fresh fragrance realistically should. Safe for your skin? Probably. Regardless, you want strong, you want fresh, you want clean, you want Cobra. Something newer up next from Armaf, part of their Lions Club line, Majestueux. Just rolls right off the tongue. So the Lions Club line of fragrances, if you're unaware of these, they are all similar to Parfums de Marly releases. And this one right here smells similar to Herod. And Herod, a lot of people would consider to be one of the pinnacle, one of the best. Fall and wintertime personified. We're talking one of the best high-end wearable tobacco fragrances on the market, PDM Herod. And that one is strong. It lasts, it projects. Sometimes I really struggle getting like this little thing to latch. Essentially, it looks like a rivet on a pair of blue jeans or something, but it's a magnet. You have to get it right in that little spot right there, just perfect. This stuff rules, and that's because Herod rules. Really, really nicely done. Little bit of vanilla in there with the tobacco, some nice warm spices, has osmanthus in there, which gives it a nice touch, a little more texture, a little more depth. And this one is sneaky because the first time I sprayed it on, I was like, oh, it smells good. Really nice, the quality is there, you know, no alcohol smell off the top. So it's not one where you had to let it, you know, sit and mature and come back to it 1, 2, 3 weeks later for it to even smell right. That wasn't going on, but it didn't seem super strong. That being said, spray a tester strip like I just did and just leave it there on Craig the table, just like that. Leave the room, come back in 30 minutes later. As soon as you open the door, this is gonna whap you in the face. It's that type of fragrance where you have it on and you feel like, oh, I don't know if this is really getting the job done. But it just makes this like soft but very noticeable cloud that radiates out much further than you expect. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, you know, strongest fragrances, you just said soft. What I mean by that is, it's not aggressively punching you in the nose. It's not that type of thing where you smell it and people go, oh God, what was that? Ugh. Because some fragrances, even though they smell good, they can be so strong that the initial reaction is like you got hit with a blast of fart spray. If it just hits you where it's like, oh, you know, like it physically smacks you, sometimes that's too much. This one is much more pillowy, but when you smell it, you're just like, ooh, that is good. I would say for me personally, of the 5 Lions Club fragrances so far, it's probably the best one. Also, I do like Herod a lot, so I mean, I'm a little biased. Let's shake it up, Rayhaan Italia. So this one is newer. It's got a nice little marble kind of bottle design to it. And of course, Rayhaan now has magnetic caps. There's one more magnetic cap coming. Magnetic caps, every bottle needs one. It's not really heavy, but I mean, it is magnetic, so we'll let it slide. Atomizer, pretty good. Does it pop? Yes. So Italia is Serjoff's Naxos. And there's a lot of those nowadays. It just kind of came out rapid fire, everybody releasing them. This one has a little bit of a twist for me. So off the top, it comes across a bit fresher initially. You don't get quite the same push of aromatics. It still has some in there, but it's kind of leaning a little bit fresher off the top. And as it dries, honeyed. You get a nice, tasty honeyed tobacco that comes out, and it is sweeter in here with great push. Another one that is a big time attention grabber, you could maybe actually think of it as like a more contemporary twist on Naxos. Because nowadays, vanilla and honeyed fragrances, they are running wild in the designer realm. And so this is almost like taking Naxos and leaving most of it, you know, as it is, but trying to make it a little bit more modern in that sense. Absolutely rips. Let's go back to a freshie again, because a lot of times with fresh fragrances, the expectation is bad performance, or at least a lot of time. That's kind of the vibe. You know, people are like, oh, it's got citrus in there, citrus and musk, whatever. It's gonna last 3 hours and you're gonna have to reapply. So when you can get a freshie like Cobra over here that lasts forever, it really sticks out. The next one is called Majesty, and this one is from Maison Asrar, which is part of Gulf Orchid. Now, to be fair, I was talking about Cobra over here with this color scheme, and I was like, that doesn't really say fresh, does it? Doesn't really say citrusy, this one. And now I'm looking at this, and I'm like, well, neither does that. Gray and black, but it works. So this guy right here is gonna give you grapefruit, bergamot, ginger off the top. As it dries down, ambergris, musk, some floral notes. Smells similar to Bulgari's Tiger, which means it could also remind you of Suspiro's Vibrato. So kind of in that wheelhouse, in that style. Ultra bright, a little bit zingy, very fresh once again. Great sweetness with the ginger balancing out the citrus off the top. Now it's gonna be obviously more of a spring, summertime fragrance for most people. So is this one over here. But when it comes to these scents, because of the longevity that they have, you can easily wear this stuff during fall and winter also. Of the fragrances from this house, Majesty didn't really get talked about a whole heck of a lot, but in terms of bang for your buck, in terms of performance versatility, this stuff one of the best. Now listen up, guys. Just because these are strong does not automatically mean that they're gonna be good for everybody. The next one is proof of that. I would say for the majority of you, you probably wanna stay away from it, okay? Just keep that between us, but yeah, I don't know, bud. But before I bless Craig the table with that fragrance, how about some codes? So we got codes here for JOMASHOP. They have changed. You gotta know about to change. Because if you use the old ones, they ain't gonna work. You gotta use the new ones, they do work. They only work within the JOMASHOP app though, so be aware of that. And then also look at those other codes, man. Fragrance Lord, for example, and many other stores. Perfume box, nasty deals, even nastier when you use the code. So what is the next fragrance? Well, guys, it is of course French Avenue's Opus Magnum. Because check that out, the color scheme matches. They just like, these are two peas in a pod right here. These are just two guys kicking it, you know, two buddies. And they were like, we're gonna match, color coordinate, take over the town. And then for some reason, everyone was like, yeah, I like that. Oh my God, what is going on over there? And it's not this fragrance's fault. It smells similar to Royal Tobacco by Hawas. And if you've never smelled that, you might think to yourself, well, tobacco usually is pretty good, pretty safe bet. You know, a little pipe tobacco, a little honey, a little sweetness, bada bing, bada boom. Stuff is strong. To be fair, and this is TMI, I am a small child and I tried to drink some water earlier today and it went straight into my lungs. My lungs were thirsty apparently. And so I have been coughing off and on all day because I drowned myself, okay? So when that hit my lungs just now, it's like the residual, I guess, water that was in there was like, let's cough again. So tobacco, yes, but also incense, very smoky. Oud, amber, Peru balsam, additional spices, like it's got a punch, guys. It's got a punch. I mentioned fallout earlier. This stuff right here will give fallout. It's very niche, it's very unique smelling, but it's not gonna be for everybody. So don't say I didn't warn you. Now, if you want a French Avenue that is way easier to wear, Liquid Brun. This is the limited edition. And you can tell it's stronger because it's an extrait de parfum. Them's the rules. If it's an extrait de parfum, that means it's automatically stronger, right? Right. That's not always the case, but we're just gonna roll with it. And this does what you would expect from a limited edition. It basically takes Liquid Brun, it makes it deeper, gives it more of a woody aspect, actually more depth to it overall, more things going on. It still has that sweetness from the original, but whereas the original is like sweetness with more sweetness and more sweetness, comes across maybe a little bit smoother, potentially, the original one. This one just really pushes, it projects, it lasts. It definitely smells more expensive to me compared to the original Liquid Brun, but I will say maybe bang for buck wise, the original is gonna be better bet for most people. But if you just need that added complexity, that added heft, that added extrait de parfum, je ne sais quoi, you gotta get this. And to be fair, I actually think that stuff rules. Liquid Brun limited edition is really good. How about a little Armaf? This is Club de Nuit Intense Man, and which version is it, you say? Well, of course, it's the Extreme Edition. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. There's a bunch of CDNIMs out there, and to be fair, most of them have really good performance. So I was gonna grab one of them, and I was like, well, which one to get, you know? And it was just right there. Had to grab it. Extreme Edition, it's in the name. It's gonna melt the tester strip, watch. That melted, right? It's gone? Now listen, it is kind of a fool's errand to spray all the different Club de Nuit Intense Man fragrances side by side and try to figure out exactly which part of each one is different. I mean, if you do that and you do them side by side, can you find differences? Sure, but are they massive? Usually not really. And I will say that overall, this is a good iteration of Club de Nuit Intense Man. It's gonna be smoother than the original off the top. As it dries down, you get a nice black currant, you get birch, you get patchouli, even comes across a touch leathery at times. It's really well done. Is it worth paying a whole bunch of money to get this over just the limited edition or the pure parfum? No, it isn't. If you can get this for a good price, then sure. But if you see it and it's double the price of limited edition, 3 times the price of the pure parfum or something like that, go with one of those. It's gonna be a better buy. You're still gonna get really good performance. So yes, the Extreme Edition is here because extreme, but you don't need to spend a lot of money to get it. It's not like that much better than the other ones or anything. How about Ramad Oriental, Arabiyat Prestige? This is another homage, but this one is a little bit more wearable than that one because it smells similar to Outlands. Great smoothness here with a bunch of spice, warm spices, sweet spices, nice incense note that cuts through. Also vanilla and amber in the base, which is gonna help again with that sweetness that kind of helps balance everything out, keeps it wearable. Still has a little bit of that Middle Eastern lean to it, but it smells extremely expensive compared to the price point, and the performance is great. There's a reason that this stuff got hyped heavily, and that's because it ticks pretty much every box that people are looking for when they're picking up a new clone fragrance. Smells expensive, great performance, smells similar to a fragrance that people know. 9 PM Elixir Afnan up next. A lot of the 9 PM fragrances have very solid performance, and with this one being an Elixir, of course it had to as well, right? Yes, actually this time, yeah. Sometimes you have something come out where you're expecting great performance and it doesn't really have it, but this one does. So this is gonna give you that Lamal Elixir Absolute type of feeling, that kind of vibe. Sweetness is well done. It's got nutmeg, cardamom, vanilla, leather, some of the notes in here. And like Elixir Absolute, it's not quite as overdosed on sweetness, on honey, as the Lamal Elixir is. So it's gonna give you a little more versatility, slightly more grown up, but still gonna give you that, that sex appeal, you know, that compliment factor. Gotta get a Lattafa right here, Asad Elixir. So Elixirs back to back. This one smells similar to Boss Bottled Absolute, which Bottled Absolute, oh, that's one of my favorites, man. I'm one of my favorite designers out there right now. Little similar to Carlisle by Parfums de Marly, but for me, Bottled Absolute, a little bit more wearable. This one is a little twist on Absolute. It's not actually like a one-to-one. So the patchouli note is toned down in this. You don't get quite as much of that coming through, but it's still done excellently. And they actually put like a tobacco note officially in here, which I thought was funny because when Bottled Absolute came out, to me, it smelled like it could have had a tobacco note. Like you could have put one in there and you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, I get that. And so to see the clone come out and then they did put tobacco as a note when Bottled Absolute didn't was just kind of fun. Nitro Elixir by Dumont up next. So 3 in a row. Promise the last one is not an elixir. So this is Myself Absolute, which kind of makes sense, you know, in terms of the color scheme here. They didn't go for like a similar look to the bottle or name or anything, but they did go with a similar color scheme. And Dumont fragrances are, for the most part, really well known for their performance. This one no different. Fantastic longevity here, really solid projection. In terms of notes off the top, citrus, apple, cardamom as it dries down, orange blossom, and even praline. Also have mint, geranium, and tonka as well. So this one is gonna give you more like Myself Absolute with a little bit of a twist. Still has that similar kind of freshness from the orange blossom. That's the main aspect you're gonna pick up that kind of pulls them together. But then this one has an additional bit of sweetness in there and a nice sparkle off the top. And finally, Zimaya's Oscar. This is an eau de parfum and it smells similar to Scandal by Jean Paul Gaultier, just the original. As usual, Zimaya fragrances are pretty cheap. This one is about 25 bucks. And it's another sneaky one. Oop. And it's another sneaky one that just lasts and slowly projects and fills up the room. Orange caramel, tonka, clary sage, some of the notes in here. Good for spring, fall, winter, daytime, evening, either one. And it's one of those scents where if you know, you know. It's not gonna get as much hype as pretty much anything else up here, but it is darn good in terms of what you get for the price you pay. So there we go, friends, 12 fragrances right there that are some of the strongest, longest lasting ones you can get. Just really good stuff for the most part. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Shout out to all of you guys who are obsessed with apocalyptically powerful fragrances. Just straight up the most heinously overpowered stuff. Shout out. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.